Welcome to my Chapter 7 EX review. I know it's not a playthrough video. Those are coming back when Chapter 8 drops, I promise. I said I was going to do a separate video for 7EX once it drops, and it is hot off the presses. It came out 2 days ago as of recording this video. This chapter is all about Leylah's story, which is very exciting considering Leylah has been a complete mystery for the entire arc. Not only that, but it's nothing else but Leylah's story, which I appreciate. I found Chapter 7 to be a little bit chaotic. They tried to continue all the stories in one chapter, and I found it a bit hard to follow. It was very nice that this chapter was only focused on one story. It was very easy to follow along. When we saw the cover art for this, we all assumed it would be another doomed Yuri couple, but we got something way worse. Long story short, Leylah has a massive inferiority complex where she doesn't feel like she's fit to be the goddess of Mars at all. She says she's too incompetent and messes everything up. She's attached to Senadina because she's everything Leylah isn't. Senna is a great goddess, she bestows her grace upon everyone, and she's perfect in Leylah's eyes. In Senadina's perspective, Leylah is a daughter figure where she can teach Leylah the ropes of godhood, then she'll leave to do her own goddess stuff and things will go happily ever after. In Leylah's perspective though, she doesn't want Senadina to leave and wants to stay with her forever because she can't imagine she'd ever govern Mars well. This inferiority complex eventually leads to Leylah leaving as well, and she takes that as no one cares for her, everybody abandons her, and she should take care of herself and no one else. It's a pretty sad story that makes you connect with her as a character and makes you want to help her. I've been wanting to know about her for a while now and was not disappointed. It was short, sweet, to the point, and it didn't waste your time. The representation of their story with the deer and the lion was a really cute way of doing it as well. Overall, this was a great chapter, a lot better than Chapter 7 in my opinion. We did get some lore sprinkled throughout this chapter as well. It's not much, and that's fine, it's an interlude, but I appreciate that we got something. The last 2 lines of the chapter was Leylah talking to Dreamseeker, and that makes me think that Leylah is trying to get Dreamseeker on the same page as her. In Chapter 4, Leylah made Dreamseeker obsessed with finding Senadina so she could feel the same desperation and despair that Leylah did to try and get her to the same conclusion as she did. Why is she doing this? What is her goal? I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens with that. Leylah is in this chapter. He had something to do with Leylah's past, and he even watched her grow up. That reveals that just like Ajita, Leylah isn't just one of the 7 shoes. There's something more to him, and his past runs deep. This chapter brings up the planet Senadina and Leylah come from every now and then. Leylah says there was some sort of tragedy that happened there, and in the Lion and Deer story, Senadina says that her, Leylah, and someone that I'll talk about later went from somewhere they call home to Mars. When Leylah is having a breakdown in front of Serapeum, she mentions a woman from Perusha, and we all know who that is. This tells us that Vita has spoken with Leylah in person before, and that she probably lied in Chapter 5 when she said she didn't know anything else. If anything, this just makes me question Vita's motives even more. I know her whole thing is that she's free now, no one can tell her what to do, and she wants to do whatever she wants, but does being free include saying the nastiest thing you can say to someone? If you're just going to insult us, why are you even here? Just leave. There's a new character, her name's Nahralab, and I'm a bit conflicted. On one hand, her design is amazing, and the little bit of lore we got with her was interesting. On the other hand, the entirety of part 2 has been littered with questions so far. I saw someone say that part 2 2 is a fever dream and they don't know what's going on, and I can't blame him. As much as I like part 2 and I like how much it improved, there are times where I take a step back and question what is even happening anymore, especially in chapter 7. There's so much going on, we don't need anything more. So when I saw Nahralab, there was intrigue, but a little bit of exhaustion came with it. This new character just adds to the mountain of questions we have, like, okay, what's her story? What does she have to do with Leylah? Why hasn't she at least been mentioned in the previous 7 chapters? Where is she now? There's only so many questions you can give me before I start losing my mind and interest. Her lore was actually really intriguing though, and that kinda hooked me, so fine! Hoyoverse, you have me on a leash. Are you happy? Is that what you wanted to hear? She's looking for a path to her end, which is only slightly depressing. Path and end are in quotes though, so who really knows what she's talking about here? Leylah says that that's expected because she never truly belonged to humanity. She asks if Nahralab's found it yet, and she says, almost, I feel we'll be parting ways soon. This, of course, brings up more questions like, what is her path? Why does she not belong to humanity? Is that why she hasn't been mentioned? Is she gone? Is she dead? And why is Leylah the one saying she doesn't belong to humanity? If you want to talk about humanity, you have purple glowy hands at all times, and she has normal ones. That seems a bit hypocritical. She was in the Deer and Lion story with Senadina and Letost, so I think it's safe to assume she's also from that planet. So maybe we'll learn more about her when we get more lore about the planet. She reminds me of Vita a little bit. That may be because I'm brain rotted from all the videos I made about her. When Leylah tells Nahralab about the missing pendant, Nahralab says, forget about it, it's lost forever. Do you want one of my trinkets? I have a collection of them. I'm really good at finding trinkets that are pretty and cute. Does anyone else see the correlation, or am I just tripping? Seraphim also calls Nahralab her aunt. There's gotta be something there. Speaking of Seraphim, I think we should keep tabs on her. Not only because Seraphim knows who Nahralab is, but also because she's talking to Leylah face to face in this scene. I remember in chapter 7, they didn't dwell on it too much, but they mentioned it was strange that Seraphim is here, even though they had traveled back in time to the 3rd Ten Shoes War, and the 7 Shoes shouldn't have been a thing yet. After completing chapter 7 EX, we get a page of a child's diary. I think that child is Seraphim because the diary entries are in the same format. The diary doesn't give us much, it's just someone explaining that they're sad Leylah won't get out of the tower. I think this is just evidence that someone else was there when Leylah was around. Again, I think it's Seraphim, but who knows. After completing chapter 7 EX, I can confidently say the her that Letost and Seraphim were talking about in the conversation in chapter 7 is Leylah, because Letost says she's drowning in memories and she's terribly lonely, and he actually tasks Seraphim with guiding Leylah out of it. So Seraphim definitely knows more than she's letting on. That's about all I have to say for chapter 7 EX. Great addition to part 2, and I hope they keep improving. I'm insanely curious where the next arc is going to go, because we still have so many questions that the story could literally go anywhere. I felt like chapter 7 and 7EX have been building to something, and I genuinely hope the next arc knocks it out of the park. I want to be wowed. But that won't be for a while because of their new schedule, so until then I will be posting other gachas to the channel, so look forward to that. If you liked this video, why not subscribe? I do videos like this one all the time, and it would be greatly appreciated. See you guys in Zenless Zone 0.